When you shoot film, you've got two options: develop at home or send it off to a developer. Now, when you ship film, you accept the inherent risk that your package may not make it to its destination. I've done this many times using a postal service with zero issues. Then I used UPS. They f***ed me. Alright guys, if you've been watching this channel, you know that this was all supposed to start about a year ago. That clearly did not happen, but it almost did on several occasions. One of those occasions was just last summer when my family and I relocated from San Antonio, Texas to Virginia Beach. Now, moving for us often feels like a fresh start, and it felt like the perfect opportunity to start shooting again while attempting to document my process for this channel. We stayed in a beautiful Airbnb before we could move into our home, and I figured it was as good a place as any to start taking photos. So I dropped a roll of Vision 3 Kodak 250D into my A1, and I got to work. Now, just to reiterate, there are no photos because UPS screwed me. But I documented everything I shot. The content of that roll was going to be the focus of this channel's first video. And when it became apparent that the roll had disappeared into the UPS upside down, you know, the same place your socks vanished to, and my sanity after trying to get UPS customer service to help me, it was like being punched in the stomach, and it became another obstacle to overcome in getting this channel going. So back to shooting photos that don't exist. I walked down the road from our Airbnb to snap a shot of this church that had caught my eye. I felt like this one was going to turn out nicely. Guess we'll never know. This scenic Airbnb was located on a small lake. I really liked the composition of this shot with the fishing gear in the foreground and the water and canoes in the background. Inside the Airbnb, there were a lot of windows and natural light. And with all the natural light, I snapped this shot of my daughter sitting on her tired mama. And of course I had to get this shot of our very good boy Hanky. He handled the move like a champ. Got a shot of this little kid playing outside the window, and one more gratuitous shot out the window. My beautiful wife turned weird. Every time I say how old my wife is, it's bleeped out. Anyways, we went out to a dinner at a restaurant called Hot Tuna. She got all dolled up, and I'm contractually obligated to photograph her anytime she does this. Side note, I was informed that this restaurant is a popular hangout for Navy SEALs who are stationed in the area. And because of that, it's also a popular hangout for frog hogs. Now, if you're like me and you've never heard that term, Google it. The rest of this non-existent roll of film was shot on a work trip to Omaha, Nebraska. And I figured Norfolk Airport was as good a place as any to start shooting. I saw this lipstick smudged Starbucks cup sitting in a window with no one around. Felt right at the time, probably would have been a shit photo. I was in Omaha for a few days, and in my downtime, I walked around downtown looking for inspiration. Then I saw it. Something I'd only heard about in stories from my wife who lived in Omaha back in the day. She'd told me about this catchy late-night local TV commercial for a fine local, adults-only Omaha establishment.
The playhouse. Can you come out and play? Come out and play.
Yeah, good stuff, right? When I saw the billboard for this place, I had to snap a pic, at least as an inside joke between us. Later that night, I tried a long exposure shot out the window of my hotel room. And yeah, I tried the same exact shot during the day. The next day, I hit the pavement downtown. Got a shot of this vicious guard dog who wouldn't stop barking at me. Then I found this eccentric candy store. Took a few shots inside before magic hour kicked off, and then I tried to capture different parts of downtown. Then it happened. I came across a fellow film photographer in the wild. He was in the zone, and I didn't want to bother him, so I just hovered a little bit before snapping a photo while he was under the blanket composing his shot. Now I know what you're thinking. Why don't I just develop my film at home? Well, I've tried that. Black and white, pretty simple. Color film, little more challenging for me, and I would rather not ruin any more film trying to figure it out. So I will continue to ship my film. And if I've never had an issue with shipping through the Postal Service, why switch? Well, I was shooting Kodak Vision 3 250D, and if you watched my last video, you learned a little bit about remjet. So with limited options, I sent it to a lab that does process this particular film stock, and they recommend UPS for shipping. Now, is this the lab's fault? Absolutely not. The bottom line is UPS lost my film. Now, I understand and accept the risk, but they never even told me it was lost, just delayed for, I don't know, weeks. So I held on to hope that it would eventually be set on its proper path. But when I tried to get help through UPS customer service, they said I have to go to the UPS store that I shipped from. Now the store said I needed to call UPS. Went back and forth like this until finally the manager of the store got into a screaming match with someone from UPS, and they finally copped to the fact that my package was lost. The best part is, it's not lost, they just don't know where it is. I mean, it's out there somewhere. So moving forward, UPS is dead to me. Not so much because they lost my film, but because they clearly didn't give a shit, much the same way they don't give a shit that they lost me as a customer. I held on to the hope, me. All right, guys, if you've been watching this channel, why is this going so slow to Virginia Beach? The teleprompter is going too slow, and I have nothing else to read. What the Man, this video is gonna suck. Why is this going so slow? The next day, I pounded Pound town. The next day, I pounded the pavement downtown. The next day, no issues. Found this eccentric. And I have tried, and I need to start this over. And black and white film is not such an issue, but who talks like this? Black and white film is not such an issue, but color is such an issue. Now when you ship film, you accept the inherent risk. Now when you ship film, Jesus Christ.